guys, SmileDoc here. Glad to be able to do another video for you. Today the topic is going to be, is dental school worth it? It can cost up to, in some cases, $500,000 to attend dental school now. And that's outrageous. Now, just to give you a little bit of perspective, when I graduated from dental school in 2001 with undergraduate debt, I was in debt for about $150,000. I had no help from family. It was loans, Pell Grants, and I worked a lot in undergrad, and I worked in dental school. If you're trying to decide whether or not dental school is worth the investment because it is heavy debt, I'm going to give you some things to think about so that you can make a more educated decision. I actually had someone reach out to me after they were accepted into dental school, said they're going to be in debt about $450,000, and they wanted to know if I thought it was worth it. And so here are the things that you need to consider. And don't forget, please, like, share, and follow. It's why I keep making these videos. I love the engagement. And please don't forget to comment or post down below for more ideas. You give me the ideas, I'll make the videos for you, okay? The first thing that you need to consider when thinking about dental school and thinking about all that debt is, what type of dentist do you want to be? There's all kinds of dentists that are out there. There are general dentists that go through the military. There's general dentists that work in a hospital. There are general dentists that are associates, and there are some that work in group practices. There's some that want to own their own business, and they want to become a business owner doing it. So you got to kind of think about that, because your income is going to vary based on what you want to do. So if you want to be a hospitalist, you're going to be salaried. You're not going to make as much as you would if you wanted to be in private practice. If you're wanting to be a teacher, like a professor at a dental school, you're not going to make as much as you would in private practice. Now, there are some perks to both of those things. You don't have to worry about buying dental supplies. You don't have to worry about hiring and firing people. You don't have to worry about practice management, which is big, okay? But without having to worry about that stuff, it's a lot less stressful, and it's also less money. Just to give you some facts and figures, the average general dentist in America, the price range, as I've researched it, it varies from $100,000 to $400,000. Now, there was no variables put into that search. It was just, what's the average general dentist make in America? So location is going to play a role in that. And are you part-time? Are you full-time? Do you own? Are you an associate? Are you a specialist? Different things are going to play a role in that number. But that's kind of the range, 100 to 400,000. I can tell you that generally speaking, average general dentist, 100 to 400,000. Now, contrast the average general dentist to the average associate dentist. The average associate dentist makes about $141,000 a year. $141,000. Okay, we're going to break down these numbers in just a little bit, but you need to know this. The average dental student is accumulating, well, around $400,000 in debt, okay? That's an insane amount of money, and that is even for some in-state tuitions. And it can be more if you're out of state or going to a private school. There are some cases that it's less, all right? That's the average. Now, the next concept I want to talk about is cash flow. It's something that's very, very important, and you don't have to own a business to understand or to need to understand the concept of cash flow. Cash flow is just, you have money coming in, you have money going out, and, you know, hopefully at the end of the month, you have more money coming in than you have money going out. That's the flow of the money, the in and the out. And hopefully you are net positive at the end of the month. Well, if you're just an associate dentist with a salary, you'll get paid every month and you still have a household cash flow. Money's going out, car payments, food, rent, and then you've got money coming in. Cash flow is a concept that you have to understand and you have to be able to pay attention to. So here is my warning, particularly to young adults, which are most of the kids that are going through dental school. Most of them do not have a concept of cash flow, of money. Many of them are still, look, my kids have been through college and I have supported them in ways with helping them with rent and helping them with things over the years. So I get it. My family is no different than what I'm about to say, but a lot of young adults that are about to enter into dental school, they don't understand, they don't have a grasp of exactly how much money it costs to just live. And I would start paying attention to that. So there are a lot of hidden things that your parents still pay for. And why am I bringing this up? I'm trying to help you determine whether or not going into debt $400,000 is going to be worth it. And there are two sides to that. One side is your income. One side, you're trying to figure out, am I going to make enough to pay for this loan service? And the other side is, do I spend too much to be able to afford this loan service or debt service? So on the personal side and on the output side, outgoing side of the cash flow, there are things that are hidden that you're going to end up having to pay for. Your automobile insurance, your cell phone bill. These are things that get melted into mom and dad's expenses very often with young adults. And you understand, there's money. These are dollars that you're going to have to spend. The other thing that is super, super invasive are these hidden subscription fees that we pay for, whether it's some people have like iTunes and Spotify that they're paying for. And then they have countless streaming services that they want to pay for. And just each month, those numbers can just skyrocket. So you have to be able to manage the output. And I'm going to give you a little bit of counsel about that, but it's something you need to start managing. If you're like, well, I've never really had a budget. If you're cash flow positive, you don't have to worry about it as much, right? You don't feel it. So you're like, well, I don't really need to count my pennies and reconcile my checkbooks and stuff like that because I'm always having more money than I spend. But if you want to maximize that, you got to start tracking what you're spending. Okay. It is very, very important. And you need to become a business owner minded. Okay. And that's in your personal finance. And then obviously, if you end up owning a business, you need to be business owner minded. Okay, if you're going to take out loans for dental school, let's say you get somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000 in school debt, okay, when you're all done. If you look at the current interest rates and the possible terms that you're able to repay this debt, you can push it up to 25 years. Now, to me, cash is king, and student loan debt, even though the interest rate is higher now than it has been in a long time, it's still one of the lowest types of debts, lowest interest rates you can get on debt. I mean, it's lower than what your house payment is going to be, lower than what a car payment is going to be. So what I'm saying is the interest rate is low enough that if you just stretch that loan out for as long as you can, the monthly payments are going to be smaller. That's going to help you manage your month-to-month cash flow better. Okay. And the interest rate is really low. If rates ever go down, you can refinance. That's the magic in it. Okay. If rates go up, you're locked in at a lower rate. So don't worry about it. But if you lock yourself into a 10-year repayment plan, that's fine. It's very aggressive, but you're going to have to make very high monthly payments. It's going to really stress you out month to month. And so my advice, stretch it out a little bit. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you how I did it because cash is king. You need cash to be able to pay for stuff, to invest in yourself, to invest in a practice, and those monthly payments with low interest rate become more affordable. So let's take a $500,000 debt service, okay? With the average interest rates that are out there on student debt, if you're able to stretch it out for about 25 years, your monthly payment is going to be somewhere around $3,000 a month. If you have debt of $400,000 and you're able to stretch it out over 25 years, it may be closer to $2,000, okay? So somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 a month is going to be a check that you have to write every month to the bank. That's before you eat, that's before your car payment, and anyway, so that's how much it's going to be each month. Now, I want to take you through, I've done some numbers, just some simple math. The tax bracket actually doesn't work in the way that I'm about to describe it. I do understand that. But to make things simple, I've put together some simple math. Okay. Let's say, for example, you are an associate dentist and you're making $141,000 a year and you have $500,000 in debt. You'd fall somewhere in around the 25% tax bracket. Again, I'm not an accountant. I understand how the tax brackets work, and it's not a flat 25%. But let's just say, hypothetically, you're in a 25% tax bracket. That means you'll pay approximately $35,000 a year in taxes, leaving you about $105,000 in net income. All right. If you divide that over 12 months, that leaves you about $8,000 a month in cash to spend on your life. And then you've got this debt to service. So if it's $500,000, it's going to be around $3,000 a month. You're looking at a net of $5,000 to live your life. $5,000. Now you get to make a house payment, all your insurance, including health insurance, which is outrageous. You know, food, car, clothing, everything. Okay. So there are the numbers. Some people, that's not a bad lifestyle. I mean, net of $60,000 a year, that's doable. Okay. Are you living like a king? No. Are you living like a dentist? No, but that's what it's going to be. So now if you own your own practice, on the upside, things just go up. And then on the downside, of course, your net will stay high if you're able to minimize your monthly expenses on stuff. So when I got out of dental school with $150,000 in debt, I extrapolated that over 25 years. And interestingly, I got out of school with $150,000 in debt. That was a long time ago, 20 plus years ago. Things have basically, also, when I got out of dental school, the pay for an associate dentist sucked. I'm going to use the word suck a lot. The pay sucked. Everything sucked. But my debt was also not so bad. The debt has gone up by 3 times for students, and the pay has gone up about 3 times. So the level of suck is about the same. It just sucks. Debt sucks. It's a lot of debt, and you have to work really hard to get your income up, and you need to stay healthy in the process. So if you thought, man, I'd like to own my own business, you really need to change your entire mindset, because you get out of dental school and you're like, I can do a crown, I can do a filling. And you just get in this mind of like, if I just do the dentistry, the money will flow. And you've got to start thinking differently. You have to think like a business owner. So at first you're like dentist, save teeth, help people. And you shift to a mindset of business. I got to be a business owner first. The commodity that I sell is dentistry, which I provide. But business owner first. You have to be profitable. You have to be. You got to be able to pay your taxes, pay your employees, and still be able to take some money home for your family. Another advantage of owning your own business is you get to take advantage of some tax loopholes or tax advantages. Those can be huge. If you're able to own your own business, I would encourage it if you can stomach it. It is not fun all the time. In fact, sometimes it is very, very difficult. And you have to deal with people that become family. You know, basically you work with employees for 10 plus years sometimes, and then sometimes you got to make some business decisions that affect everyone. And sometimes they're not positive, but at the end of the day, it's a business. And, you know, that's your chief responsibility, is to the life support on the business. Just to give you a little bit of feedback, I was an associate for a year. I made terrible money, terrible. I knew that I couldn't do that forever. And finally bought a practice. When I bought this very small practice, it was in a strip mall. There were 3 working operatories in it. I was thrilled the first day that I worked, and we collected $1,500. I was like, what, in one day? One day? $1,500? That was like unbelievable. Now, at the time, I had an employee mindset. Never would I have conceived making that much money. Now, all that money is not mine. A large portion of it is gone as it walks in the door, to employees, to rent, to taxes, debt service. A lot of it's gone before I get to see any of it personally, but still it was like a lot of money. To me, that was a lot of money. And there were 2 things that I had to pay for right away out of the gate, okay, not including my student debt. So my student debt payments were around $1,500 every month. And I bought the practice, which I had to pay $5,000 a month for. That was the cost of the practice, the equipment, the goodwill, and everything. It was a check I had to write, $5,000. Another check that I had to write every month was for my lease in the small strip mall, $3,000. $8,000 right off the top. And then you tack on another $1,500 for debt service. That is $9,500 that is gone. The first $10,000 that we collected in an entire month. No employee gets paid, no food on my table. And so I felt that pressure, like I've got to make this business work. And, you know, when you get your mindset in that way, where you're like, I got to put these parts and pieces together, I got to start reading and studying some things on business, then you can become profitable. You can learn how to manage that stuff, and it can be a very successful venture. But you got to be willing to stomach it, because it comes with heartache, it comes with stress, owning a business. Perhaps owning a business could be a subject for another one. I'm trying to focus on this video about, is the debt worth it? And I just laid out some numbers for you for a basic associate, and then for a business owner. I mean, average practices are grossing $600,000 a year. Maybe they're grossing that amount that comes into the practice. You have really, for a single dentist with a small staff, you know, you should be able to produce, if you're very business oriented, you should be able to produce $800,000 a year, $1 million a year. And then you have to work out all the numbers and how that shakes out with all of your bills. That's one of the disadvantages to owning a business. When you're an associate, you go home like, I'm done, I'm out. You can focus on whatever you want. As a business owner, it is never off your mind. You're constantly thinking about it, dealing with it. Heck, you might have payroll set up on auto payment, and then one day you just get a text from your employee that says, "Hey, did we get paid today?" I'm like, "Fetch, like, I don't know. You're supposed to." Then you call them up, and payroll's like, "Oh yeah, sorry." And payroll's like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be late today. We'll get it in right away." Or payroll will say, "We forgot to do it," or something glitchy happened, and you just have to deal with that stuff. Not only the marketing and systems. I mean, you're doing a lot of stuff that you do not get paid for, and when you own a business, and that comes with the territory. So the last thing that I want to mention in here, two things. Number one, you have to just do the math. If you are, I hate saying this, I feel uncomfortable saying it, but it is a fact. Dental school is accepting more and more females, which is awesome. I mean, honestly, I think in many cases, they're much smarter than men. The fact is, many women that enter dental school, they don't want to own their own practice. Some of them do. Some of them want to just be associates. Some of them literally want to be like part-time dentists because they're like, I'm going to have a family and I want to work 2 days a week, or I want to work half days while my kids are in school. You have to do that math. You have to think, no, I'm going to own my own business, or I'm going to be an associate somewhere. I'm going to be a full-time dentist. Then you should consider dental school. If you're like, I'm going to do this 1 day a week, it may not be worth it. Okay. Do the math yourself. Hit me up with questions. I'll help you do some math. Okay. But you got to figure out how to do it. You don't want to go into debt buying a whole business and a practice if you're only going to be a part-time dentist, unless you're like, I'm going to hire associates. That's another business model. I could hire dentists to work for me. So that's something to consider. But just when you're thinking about the debt, you have to think, what kind of dentist do I want to be? Am I going to be able to produce the money that's going to easily pay back the debt? You don't want to strain or stress to have to pay it back, which brings me to my last principle. I mentioned it earlier in this video that there are expenses that young adults just do not keep track of. They don't feel them at all until you get just a little bit older and your parents are like, "Hey, I'm getting off the family plan for the phones." And you're like, "Oh, heck, that's another $150 I got to spend on me and my wife." Or if you have kids, you're going to get your own family plan, and then you're going to be spending $300, $400 a month. It's a big car payment on cell phones. And so you have to start thinking about all of these little things that add up. So the last principle that I want to mention to you is, it's okay if life sucks for a little while. Okay? It's okay to eat spaghetti, to eat top ramen, to not eat out, to not get cheese on the fries, or to not get the extra chicken or extra cheese somewhere, to have to drink water or Kool-Aid for a while instead of monster drinks every day. Like, it sucks. But it's okay to have it suck a little bit on the front end so that you can be really successful on the back end. If you choose not to live like a pauper for a little while, and you just have this steady state of outgoing money that is not needed, it's going to hurt. And it kind of pinches, and it feels pinchy every month. You're like, it's tight. Money is tight. You'll never get out of that. As soon as you get a raise at work, you get a bump, or you buy practice, start making more money, you're just going to buy more things, and you're going to have that same mentality that I can spend as much as I make, and you can't. It'll be stressful, and then something unfortunate could happen, and then you're tanked. So learn how to live like a pauper just for a few years and save up a little bit of money. It's like some people are just not comfortable with $5,000 in the bank. They're like, "Oh my gosh, $5,000, I'm going to buy that couch that I've been wanting, or I'm going to put a down payment on a new car, $5,000. It's okay. Start getting comfortable with $5,000, $10,000 in the bank, thinking, I'm not spending that money. Okay, so learn how to live like a pauper. Learn how to, embrace the suck for a few years so that you can make some money, and then you can slowly start easing in to spending some money and enjoying a nicer lifestyle. Titrate it in to your life. And then as you get a little bit older and you've got a better grasp on the income, your potential in dentistry, you'll be able to enjoy some of the fruits of your labors. And some of you might say, "Oh, I don't go on nice vacations. I don't have a nice car." But I promise you that money is slowly being sucked out of your bank account through these very silent subscriptions and other things. So get a grasp on your outflow so that you can manage that cash flow when the money comes in, and you can be a profitable enterprise, either as a dental practice or in your personal life. Those are my suggestions for you. I hope that this has been helpful. I would love any questions you have about this concept, because it is a big question. It is a lot of debt, and you don't want to go in, take all this debt out. If you're like, well, I think I want to be a dentist, you're going to be a dentist. I mean, it's a lot of debt you're going to be paying back. So best of luck out there. Again, like, share, and follow. Appreciate all of the good love that I get out there on social media. And looking forward to the next video. We'll see you around. SmileDoc out.